Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello. So this week we watched the TV series, or the first few episodes of the TV series of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
It's back. We're doing it again.
We're doing it again.
Yeah.
This has to be what, like maybe the fourth podcast about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, maybe, that we've done?
I think we did 2 episodes per podcast last time, and there were 6 episodes. So.
Oh, so my estimation should be on. Yeah.
Yep. This time we've upgraded from a YouTube series to a full-blown TV series that was released in fall 2022.
Right, and as I understand, it airs in England. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that you can legally watch it in the US.
Oh.
But people uploaded it to YouTube and it never got taken down, so.
Yes. So watch it on YouTube.
Yep. Right, and we're doing the first 3 episodes of the series. It's 6 episodes total.
Correct.
And what'd you think at the top?
Okay, so I thought it was good. The TV series episodes are much like the other episodes that we watched.
Yes.
But I think maybe the production value's still there. I was going to say the production value's good, but I think it always has been good.
Yeah, well, it's longer because
Yes.
it's a full TV episode this time.
Longer. So yeah, you have more of a plot that carries through. I don't even know how to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, yeah, you know what I mean? So, obviously for a TV series, I think you have to like kind of up the ante on that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was good. I thought it was, I honestly, I'll say I was a little bit nervous to watch it because I thought it was going to be like super gross. You know how some of them were like just kind of gross, and creepy?
Yeah. Still some of that.
Yeah, you still had some of that. But overall, I thought it was good. It was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be, a lot more gory, and I'm glad that it wasn't.
Yeah, so, like you said, it's basically, take the YouTube originals and blow them up.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the originals. It's still like a dark/satirical take on, like, kids' TV shows.
Right.
Though I will say, I think in the YouTube videos, they had more of a point to make, whereas in these are mostly, they feel like an excuse to just, like, tell some jokes, do some weird, disturbing things, and then end the episode. But yeah, the parts that are good are still good. I think it's still very funny in some places. It's very creative. The like set design and like puppets and like animation is still all good. That carried over from the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't as big of a fan of these as I was the YouTube ones.
Really?
Yeah, I think just like them being shorter makes them sharper. Like, I'm not sure all of these work blown up to a full like TV episode.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't seen all of them yet, so part of it's like my estimation of that. Because like I like these first 2 episodes, and I don't like the third one. So
yeah, I can see that.
And it's I don't like some of the 4, 5, and 6 either. So
oh, so that's what I have to look forward to.
Yeah. But yeah, when it works, it's still good. It's still Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. But I think there's some misses this time that weren't in the original YouTube series.
See, and I agree that the shorter episodes are a little more sharp, as you said. And you always see this when you get into like a full length episode. You kind of it seems like it's a little dragged out. So I can definitely see that. But, overall, I thought it was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to do the plot synopses?
Let's get into it.
All right. I pre-wrote these this time.
Good job.
Yeah. So, episode 1, the trio are sitting around doing nothing. The green duck, however, wants to do something. Then a classic Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared guy shows up. The guys that are like a talking object that show up to teach you about something. This one's a briefcase, and it shows up to teach them about jobs. They sing a song about jobs, and then the briefcase abandons them in a factory. The green duck wants to escape, the yellow guy gets to work, and the red guy becomes the boss of the company. This continues until the duck gets fired. He then gets eaten by a weird dog thing and spat back out, and is now eager to work. Then they have a retirement party for the yellow guy, who's now old, and the red guy, who's also now old, gives a speech at it. And then in the end, the green duck realizes something wrong, an accident happens, the yellow guy gets, torn to shreds or something, and the briefcase comes back, returning them to where they started. Okay, so episode 2. The green duck is falsely reported as dead in the newspaper. They bicker over this for a bit, then his heart falls out and rolls over to the floorboards in what I feel like's a callback to Telltale Heart, the Edgar Allan Poe story, but I'm not positive. But yeah, and then rolls over to the floorboards, and then the heart bonds with the floorboards or something to form our next classic Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared guy. This one's a coffin. And it's funeral time for the green duck, and they sing a song about it. And then the funeral happens, and the green duck gets buried while the other two are at the funeral, and then they go home and sit without him. And then a weird group of puppet people show up to mourn and give them a goodie bag before leaving. The goodie bag contains a Make a New Friend kit, which the pair make use of. The yellow guy doesn't want a new friend, and slaps the table they're using to make it. He's all distraught about this, causing a weird unformed clay thing to pop out. Then the clay thing becomes one of the guys. Meanwhile, the green duck is talking to the coffin, and he starts, annoying the coffin. And the yellow guy and red guy hang out with the pink blob trying to replace the green duck. The red guy slowly changes the pink blob into a new green duck. The yellow guy gets the old green duck out of the coffin. And then we end with the old green duck killing the new one. Because there's only 3 of them. Alright, episode 3. The trio are hanging out. The green duck tries to open a bag of chips, and then 2 weird children show up. They say because the chips are the family pack, the trio won't be able to open it. Because they don't know about family or whatever. Then they sing a song about family, and the children take them to their home to learn about family. The family and their home is very weird. Then they play a game, which results in the green duck getting kicked out of the house. Then they go to another room where the red guy gets killed. Then the green duck sings a song while the yellow guy's alone in the creepy family house. The red guy ends up back in the original house, and the yellow guy ends up as the creepy family's mother. And the family forces the yellow guy to order food, but then the yellow guy's dad shows up to save him. In the end, they end up all back at home, deciding that they were a family after all.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. So, let's get into some of these episodes with more depth. Do you have any notes about the first one?
Yeah, so you get into episode 1, and as per usual, chaos ensues as soon as the little, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared guide shows up, which is a briefcase.
Yes.
So, I think that's just, one of those funny things from this series is that, you see some rando object or or person, I guess, show up, and then just everything just dissolves into chaos. So that's right off the bat, that's the funny kind of part. And then of course the gore shows up when the guy's oh, I think I have a job on my arm or shoulder or whatever it was, and it was actually this gross looking welt that was talking to him. It was gross.
That's not the only gross thing in this episode.
Yeah, there's definitely more gross stuff, but that's the first glimpse of oh yeah, the gore's still there,
Yep. Still disturbing.
Still disturbing, and just slightly okay, yeah, so that was kind of funny. I thought also unemployed Brandon was funny. So that's the briefcase is supposed to be older brother, but it's a smaller version, and it is unemployed, and I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it's like a child, and he's forcing him to act in his little song thing.
Yeah, it is so bizarre. So that was kind of funny, and just there's a bunch of little funny parts, where they're trying to describe, they're where'd the briefcase guy go? And the other people at the factory are who? And so they're trying to describe him, and he's like, the box guy.
Yeah.
And they point to like a first aid box, and they're like, no, not that one. He had one just like himself. Like, like speaking about unemployed Brandon. So like that part was kind of funny. And I think the whole commentary about work was very funny to me, like as a person who works. I just thought that was like comical.
I mean, I'm not sure how much is trying to be commentary. I think it's just like a kind of zany plot. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of it was like, I got the commentary because a lot of it was like, kind of like where work just kind of changes you, where you're just like kind of resign that, okay, I have to do this job. And like the years pass so fast and you realize like, oh, I've just been working all this time. Like the commentary about like how the boss is like talking at the retirement thing, and he's like, oh, but this isn't about me. Like after he like has talked about himself several times. I thought that was kind of more like I said, commentary about it. And then all the like little work isms, I'll say, like the goofy like small talk jokes.
Yeah, that are played like intentionally bad.
Yes, like how he says like, it's more like the parks are making me,
Yeah,
or like 40 years went by. I can't believe it's been the big 4-0, but it went by so fast. Like goofy, like that's definitely
working hard or hardly working.
Yeah, working hard, hardly working, and like all of that stuff. And then like how they're like, oh, you're upset. You need to see like this care guy, whatever it was.
Yeah.
This emotional care kind of thing. And when he like tells them like what the problem is, it's the duck, right? The duck tells them like what the problem is, and they're like, "Oh, we don't care." It's basically like they don't really address it. They just give him a bunch of like stuff that doesn't help. And then how the boss is like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm the boss. Like I felt like that was definitely like all work commentary. Like, and maybe it's just from like working for several years now that I'm like, yeah, I definitely see it.
Well, I thought it was more like playing on like TV shows.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be like a parody of like kids' TV stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of office comedy like tropes.
Yes. Yeah.
I will say I do like the premise of this episode. It's kind of like this neat sort of horror story where they get trapped in a workplace and they slowly like acquiesce to their roles. Well, the duck does. And the red guy does. The yellow guy immediately is just like, okay, I work here now.
Yes. Yes. Like everything from like the lunch where they get like a cigarette with their lunch as well. Like just like some little bizarre things.
Oh, I like how the green duck's rude to the people. Attention freaks.
Yeah. He's definitely like super rude. Like I think that's so funny. Yeah, like even there's some like creativity there too, where like the workplace video that they play, like it's like synthesized emotions. Like I think that's kind of funny. Like the whole part about like where they're like, we celebrate accidents because it makes you feel better about all the time you don't have accidents. Like that was kind of funny. And whenever he says, when the red guy, he says something about like his lanyard that has his ID on it. And like that whole part like was funny. And then later when he says, oh, I missed my lanyard and the weight gain. Like that was really funny. Because this is all like common like work stuff where you're just like, you get into like a routine and you're just like, kind of like a work robot and you gain weight and you like, this whole like thing. He's like, I miss my lanyard and weight gain. So that was like funny to me.
Well, that was also the punchline to because when it like time skipped to the future at the end, the yellow guy had like a wife and kid.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, my kid.
Yeah.
And the red guy's like, oh, my lanyard.
Yeah, my lanyard. It is hilarious. But yeah, the accident, of course, at the work site, like right when the yellow guy's retiring, he has this accident because he's Because the duck gets, or the bird, whatever he is.
I think he's a duck, but
Okay.
they call him a crow thing in one of these episodes, so who knows?
So whatever that, duck guy is, like, he gets all upset and he, like, throws the card. He's like, no, this is ridiculous, whatever he says. And then the card gets, like, sucked up into the pile of faulty objects. Yeah. And then the yellow guy's reaching for his, not my card. He's, like, reaching for his retirement card. And his hand gets all mangled and his arm is, like, all bleeding and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah. It was funny. I liked this episode. I thought it was definitely, like, a funny, like, work, and then they all end up back in the same place and they're like, oh, we don't have jobs now.
Well, I like the opening bit, too, where they're sitting around, like, the red guy's like, I don't really want to do anything, we don't have anything to do, and the green duck's like, no, we have to do something.
Yeah. Like, and I like how he's checking his, like, what's supposed to be, like, a BlackBerry or, like, Palm Pilot type of thing.
For
he's like,
his schedule.
He pulls out, he pulls out the stylus and is, like, scrolling down. He's like, and it says, like, nothing in the morning, nothing in the afternoon, nothing in the evening. No, we're not doing anything today. It says nothing. So that was a funny part, too, I think. Yeah, I thought this whole episode was funny. Like,
yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good first episode for sure.
Yeah, so, episode 2?
Yeah, episode 2. So, this is where, like, the duck's organ falls out and morphs into a coffin guy. Which is, I mean, it's funny from the get-go, because he's like, oh, apparently I'm dead.
Yeah,
like,
they don't know what death means, so...
Yeah. They're just like, okay, like, I'm dead, and it's like, what?
And the red guy's jealous of him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I should be dead. Like,
That's really more my sort of thing.
Yeah, he's like, they don't even know. Yeah.
Ever since I was born, I knew I deserved to be dead.
Yeah. It's so funny. And then the little yellow guy is just like the dummy of the group, Yeah, but it's just funny. So, like, they're like, oh, what do we do now? It's like, oh, get ready for the funeral service, So they're going about doing all these things and making food and, like, all this stuff, which is kind of funny, like, when you think about it, like somebody dies, let's make food, And then, yeah, I think the funny part is, like, so they get to the gravesite and it has David on the
which is
tombstone.
his name.
Yeah, so you're thinking, like, oh, his name's David? Like, that's kind of funny. And then they're like, who's David? And he's like, oh, that's the tombstone's name. Like, that's his name, not my name. And, so they never do tell you, like, what his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's comical, I think. And
when they're at the funeral and he's like, he says, I want my best friend to say some words, and it's the red guy, and the red guy's like, we're not best friends.
Yeah, I wrote that down,
too. I know about you, but...
Yeah, he's like, I mean, we're acquainted, basically. Yeah. He's like, I'm not his best friend. Like, he's, like, arguing, like, adamant, like, I'm not talking, I'm not his best friend. And they're like, no, do it anyway.
And the yellow guy's like, I can do it. And he's like, no, I want my best friend to do it.
Yeah. Like, they're so mean. Like, the duck guy is so rude. He's like, no, you're not my best friend. Yeah. And then the red dude's trying to, like, give a eulogy, basically. And it's, like, terrible. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I knew him. Like, it's just so stupid. Yeah. I thought it was also funny how he says, like, remember how he used to bite you?
Yeah, I thought that was like, yeah, because the yellow guy's all upset and the red guy's like, we didn't really like him anyways. Remember how he used to bite you?
Yeah, I think it's, like, hilarious. I was like, we never liked him. Yeah. And then,
the pink blob,
and then
it's also funny.
Yes, the little blob claymation thing. They're like, look, claymation, and the yellow guy's like, don't call him that. Like, what?
Oh, he said ew claymation or something.
Oh, yeah, something like that. You're like, don't talk about him that way. That was interesting.
And the pink guy's having trouble fitting in.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he, like, inserts himself into, like, the opening song, Where it's like, it's the three of us.
And the yellow guy's not happy about it.
No, the yellow guy is not happy at all. And he's like, he wants his, like, the duck guy back. But I think it's also funny how it gets kind of deep where the yellow guy is like trying to sleep and he's like, what do you think happens when you die? And then the lamp starts telling him. Yeah, and it's like cult-like stuff where it's like something about like the council or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was like definitely like cult-like sounding stuff.
Yeah, well, he says like two real things that people believe about the afterlife, and then he says like this weird thing about how people go to the center of the earth when they die, but not the core. Somewhere between the core and the surface.
Yeah.
And then the council decides, like something or another. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, okay, yeah. And then
the lamp guy, by the way, was in the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 6, I believe.
Right. Yes.
So
yeah,
call back there.
That I think when they were talking about like dreams or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but so that was definitely a callback. And then I like how so they get like a new best friend, which is basically a replacement of the duck guy, and he's like not the same and not quite getting it, and like the yellow guy's like gets frustrated. But the thing I thought was funny when they're like kind of introducing him to the house, they're like, oh, this is where, that is, this is where this is. And he goes, and this is where we keep the stain. It's like a stain on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he like sings something about, oh, I'm the stain. I forget what he says. Like something like the Forever Man or something.
Yeah.
Like super goofy.
Always like, can I be called Stain? And he says, they're like, no.
Yeah. It's so stupid. And then, of course, you have more gore where, the duck guy's, like, in the coffin under the ground. He's like, what do I do now?
Eaten by maggots.
Yeah, he's like, that tickles. And it's, like, maggots crawling out of his leg, like, decaying. But then he goes, well, we've only been here half a day. And it's like, okay, like, he wouldn't have been decaying that much.
He's annoying the coffin the whole time because he doesn't get the concept.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, so he, like, comes back because he's like, I didn't want to be dead.
The yellow guy unearthed him.
Yeah, the yellow guy, that's right. The yellow guy unearths him. And then he comes back and he's like, who's this guy? The new bird guy is there. And they start singing the opening song again with 4 of them instead of 3 of them. And then the bird guy, I was a little confused of which bird guy killed the other one. Was it the new one or the old one? But obviously it was the old one. He's like, no, there's only 3 of us. And commits a murder, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, I think this episode's the funniest in the whole set. Probably the best one in the whole set. I think the premise is just great of them just, like, not understanding death.
Yeah.
And then the, like, second plot of them, like, trying to make a new friend out of the weird clay kit thing.
Yes.
It's all very funny.
That's funny. And I love just, like, how rude they all are to each other. They live together, but they're like, we're not friends, like, it's just very funny that they're all rude to each other.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that one. So.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So this one's another, I agree with you. It wasn't my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's, it starts off about, they're talking about family and those 2 creepy kids show up.
Yes.
I think it's Lily and Tommy or something are their names.
It's like a normal name. Like, I think it's Lily, and then it's like, I forget how it's weird, but it's not like, it's close to Tommy, but not actually Tommy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and they show up, like, and just start talking about family, and I thought, it was funny because, you always hear, like, oh, family is who you make a family with, like, it doesn't have to be, like, blood related, like, your friends can be family, like, that kind of stuff, it's, like, the normal kind of talk about family, and these kids are like, y'all aren't a family.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, what are we, a bunch? Like,
well, also, they're arguing about it, because, like, yeah, we're a family, and the Green Duck's like, and I'm the father figure.
Yeah. And the red guy's like, no, if anything, like, I would be the father figure. Yeah. And so he's always, like, trying to, like, be a part of, like, one up them, you know? And I thought, like, the funniest thing was, like, the kids are, or I don't remember how this came up, but they're like, you're not a real family if you don't have a landline.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, okay.
Yeah, they sing a song about it, and it's goofy.
Yeah, like, you have to have a landline to be a family.
And then they go to their house, you know, and their house is very creepy.
It's, like, dark and, like, just kind of real weird.
They do weird activities. Yeah.
The tea, they're, like, pouring tea, and it's, like, clumpy. And you're like, is that tea? And they're like, yeah, it's a family recipe. And it's, like, disgusting looking. Yeah. And then family game time is, like, super creepy. Like, the introduction of the other, like, family characters are, like, real weird. And, like, you never see the mother. It was, like, the grandma and the dad.
Yeah, and another child.
Yeah, it's just, like, super creepy and, like, dark and scary. And they're like, why are we here? Like, we want to go home. And
Well, the green duck does. The other two, you know, the red guy's like, no.
yeah, the green duck wants to go home. And, you know, being rude as usual. And the little Lily child is, like, super creepy, like, super weird. And yeah, I just think it's funny. The part I thought was funny too was, like, the red guy, they're looking at all these, like, family photos, and the red guy's like, well, hold on a minute. And he's, like, looking at the pictures, and you're thinking, like, okay, what's he gonna say? And he goes, all of these photos, well, they've all been framed. And they're like, yeah, it's nice to keep your memories in frames, like, or something stupid.
Yeah.
And there was just, like, one of those weird little, like, offshoots, you know?
Well, it's because they were, like, most of the photos had the pictures, like, crossed out, like, X'd out. Their faces were X'd
Yeah.
out.
It's, like, so weird. And then the DNA tree shows up, and I guess, like, you know, a family tree, and it takes the red guy's blood, because he's like, I want to know, like, my family. And then there's, like, this psychedelic, like, dreamland.
Yep.
That, you know, I thought that was kind of a cool little animation there.
And presumably he dies.
Yeah, because he keeps taking his blood. He's like, you're taking a lot of blood there. And he just keeps taking it. And yeah. And then in the birds, the duck guy's, like, song about family, like, he says something like, we're family because we have all the same diseases. And I'm just like, so it's always, like, these weird little things, like, inserted into it, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's singing about how he doesn't need a family. He's his own family.
Yeah, definitely funny. Some funny parts, but yeah, I agree. I didn't like this, like, storyline as much as the other ones.
Yeah, like I did not like the weird kids or their weird family.
No, they were gross and creepy.
I think the plot's weaker than the other two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some good jokes, but it's also not as funny as the other two episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
And, like, I did not like the song the duck sings about being, like, his own family. I thought that was, like, totally unnecessary. They could have just cut it.
Yeah, they could have definitely just cut that and it would have been just fine.
I mean, there's a lot of songs in each of these episodes.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think it's fine. But, like, yeah, that duck song could have definitely been cut.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at the end where they're like, okay, well, the other part that was creepy was, okay, so they order the food. It's like, you get a family discount if you order the food. So the whole family is, like, pressuring.
Yeah, well, that's their plot. You know, they, like, abduct them to replace their mother.
The mother.
And
yes.
the reason they did that is so that they can order a family discount meal.
Right. It's like a big bucket of chicken or something. And so the yellow guy's, like, you know, all scared, and they're, like, pressuring him to order the food, and he gets it. And then that's, like, when his dad shows up, and he's like, Dad, I knew you'd come back. Like, he's, like, all excited. But then they, like, basically he gets, like, ejected from the room some kind of way, and his dad, like, it looks like he just devours, like, everything, and they're screaming and stuff. And so then it's like, no, your dad didn't come for you. Like, it was creepy. But then, wait, what was it? At the end, they all end up back, like, together, and they're like, well, I guess we really, you know, we can be a family, or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever they say. So they,
The moral of the story.
Yeah, the moral of the story. Let's try opening these dollops, is what they're called, the bag of dollops.
Oh, right, yes. They
And then
weren't
they
just
open it.
chips.
Yeah, yeah. And he pours them out, and there's only like 2 pieces in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, one of them, I forget which one, was like, well, we can share.
Oh, the red guy says, "Oh, I guess we can share."
And he's like, no, I want this one. Like, yeah.
The duck says, "I want both of them," like screams
Oh,
it.
he wants both of them. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like rude as always. Yeah. But yeah, that wasn't I agree. It wasn't my favorite one, but it wasn't bad either.
No, you bringing up the dad's a fun detail I noticed, just caught out of the corner of my eye in that scene where they're all around the table demanding him to, like, order the food.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow guy's dad can be seen, like, walking up from one of the, like, windows or something. Like, I noticed him out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, oh, that's the yellow guy's dad coming, because I knew, I'd seen it before, so I knew what was happening next. Yeah, like, you can briefly see him walking up.
I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, it's like I just saw it out of the corner of my eye.
That's funny.
Yep.
So, I think, it was definitely funny. The series, I think, is good. When did this air, though?
It came out in 2022.
Okay.
From the 30th of September to the 14th of October, 2022.
Ah, okay. I wonder if they're gonna, continue it or not.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, or how popular it is. I'd be curious to know, if it's if it has a big following or not,
Well, I mean, the original did, the original YouTube series, this is series of viral videos.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't seem to get the response as the original. I think because it was the YouTube video got popular, presumably in a lot of countries, but this was a British production because it's a British, creators, and I think it only aired in the UK. Maybe it did in other countries, but,
yeah.
As far as I could tell, there was, a UK-only thing.
Ah, yeah.
Or at least I had trouble getting a hold of it as an American.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just curious to know, if they're gonna keep it going, if it got a good response,
Yeah, I mean, and while it might have gotten less response online, it could have gotten, the numbers the channel or station, whatever, was looking for.
Right. Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. So it's still the same creators?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I thought they did a good job. I think it's definitely it's still a funny premise. It's so random, and I like how they kind of stay true to that. And yeah, I think I don't know why I was nervous about watching it, because I really thought I was gonna be grossed out. I don't know, maybe the last episodes or something I watched were just gross, and that just stayed in my head. Yeah. But I was I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm going to be creeped out or not, but I really wasn't. And I don't know why I was expecting to be, but, it's a pleasant surprise that it wasn't super gross and creepy. So.
Well, that family was pretty creepy.
Yeah, that was creepy, but not in a way that repulsed me, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it definitely was funny. I think my favorite was, honestly, I liked the first one. I thought the workplace was funny. But I mean, the second one was just as good, so.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the premise of that second one, where it's just they don't understand what death means. I think that's a great joke.
Yeah.
And they deliver it really well multiple times.
Yeah, that was good. All right, so anything else?
Well, there's 3 more episodes after this one for us to watch, so look forward to that, I guess.
Yeah, I am a little nervous about those now that you said they weren't your favorite, so.
No, yeah, I like one of them. I think the other 2 are, worse than the 3rd episode, so.
Oh, no, okay. Great. Look what I have to look forward to.
Yeah, and I think probably why I came away with such a negative opinion of it.
No,
the whole series. These 2 out of 3 ain't bad for these episodes that we watched.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and who knows? Maybe I'll like the other one sometimes.
Maybe so, yeah.
So, but I feel like we're more aligned here than like with music. Like
Yeah.
music, a lot of times, if you don't like it, like I like it. So, but I think we're probably more aligned here. So I don't know, but I'm gonna check it out though. I'm gonna see how it is.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I'll take us out then.
Yep.
All right. Well, this has been Beach View, our podcast about all sorts of things and stuff. Tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.